Well, we've started.
I need an original VariCam.
Okay, welcome back to SEMPTE 2017, and we have some exciting news here. For this session, we have Rob Myers from Panasonic, who's come here to introduce a very special new camera. So, Rob, please tell us more.
We have the EVA-1. For a long time, we've had a bit of a gap in our camera range, and the EVA-1 fills that gap absolutely beautifully. We've had a tremendous success at the sort of lower end of the market with the GH4 and now the GH5. They've gone really well for us. And then we introduced the VariCams 2.5, nearly 3 years ago, and they've done well. They've taken a while to ramp up. We're really now there with that product. But in between the GH5 and our VariCam LT, there's a big gap that we were missing out on, and it's a very popular gap in the market. So for us not to have an offering in there, but like with the GH5 and the VariCams, we've sort of waited, I guess, and tried to do something differently and really held back. So the EVA-1 will inherit some of the DNA and the feeling from the VariCam. We're not calling it a VariCam because it doesn't have the VariCam sensor in it. It'll be a brand new sensor that's been a couple of years in development, and quite a bit of time and effort and money goes into the development of a sensor, tuning it to make it right. So it'll be a 5.7K S35 sensor. So it's a bit of a departure from the 4K sensor we've had in the original VariCams. We will be able to offer a 5.7K RAW out, so going into an Inferno or an Odyssey 7Q Plus, being able to record that 5.7 means we've got a lot more latitude to do more with that. That's why we went for the 5.7 over the 4K. We're looking to ship it. It'll be shipping sometime around sort of November-ish, definitely here before Christmas. Unfortunately for SEMPTE this year, we're a little bit too early to say here's the real camera working. But very, very, very soon we will have full specs, pricing, and we will be talking an exact date for delivery.
So everyone's going to ask me the $64,000 question. What's it going to cost?
It'll be under $8,000 US, so we're sort of, around 10 grand Australian plus GST. That's the sort of ballpark it'll be in. And again, it's a price point we don't have. So the GH5 at around 4 to 5, depending on how you package it up. Then the LT at 25 to 35. It gets us that sort of niche in between the two cameras. What we've tried to do with the EVA-1 in tuning it and its look and feel, we want it to give it a look and a feel of a VariCam, so it'll go really nicely as a B cam to a VariCam. It won't be the same. It won't offer the same range of frame rates. It won't offer the same level of recording. So the LT will still be, it'll still be a higher end camera, but having said that, this will offer some features and functions that the VariCam LT doesn't.
Sure. Now, one of the great things we're talking about here is this is a native EF mount camera, isn't it?
Yep.
So we'll be able to use the 200 million EF mount lenses that are available in the world today.
Yep.
Now, one of the other questions, this sensor, obviously probably when people saw this coming out, they thought, oh, maybe it's another VariCam LT sensor repackaged. And we're all getting excited. Does this mean it's going to have the dual ISO and these sorts of capabilities? Are we going to inherit dual ISO capabilities of what we had with the VariCam and VariCam LT?
Dual ISO, I guess, was what put us on the map with the VariCam. We weren't the first people to market in that area. A lot of other guys beat us well and truly. So again, we wanted to come to the market with something different. And some of the feedback when the factory guys were talking to people, what do you want? What did you have with film days? And a lot of them said, well, I changed my stock in my camera and I can change my ISO. And so the engineers thought about that and came up with this incredible dual ISO, and it really works. It's got to be seen to be believed. At 5,000 base ASA on an LT or a 35, if you can see it, you can shoot it. It will see better than most human eyes easily. So then to take that into the EVA-1 or a sort of camera, down in the range, was obviously one of the primary things we wanted to do. We didn't use the original VariCam sensor purely based on price. It's still a lot more expensive sensor. So we couldn't have delivered the EVA-1 with that sensor in it at this price point.
Sure.
And of course, we sort of wanted to protect the 35 and the LT. If this was better, you got to protect your market and the people that have made the investment in the camera. So yes, the EVA-1 will have dual ISO. Right now, we're sort of going through the final stages of tweaking exactly where the upper point will be. We pretty much know that it's going to be around a base ASA of 800 for the first level. And we obviously want to push that second as close to 5,000 as we can. Give me a couple of weeks and we might be able to tell you a bit more on that. But it will have dual ASA, yes.
Okay, great. Now, one of the other things, when we were all going through and thinking about what we would love with a new low-cost Panasonic camera was we'd love an EF mount, Super 35 sensor, the dual ASA, and recording to SD cards.
Yep.
So we tick that box too?
Yeah, absolutely. A camera at this sort of level, we've had great success with the P2 and the P2 Express cards, but I mean there we're recording 900 megabits a second. We need that to do 12-bit 4K, 4.4, 120 frames and all that sort of thing. So we're not going to be offering that sort of level with the EVA-1. Having said that, the processor that is in here will top out around 400 megabits a second. To do that with the sort of, I guess, the crop of SD cards that have really just been superseded by the V60 and the V90s, we couldn't do those sort of speeds. But with the V90s, we can do that 400 megabits a second. So the LT and the 35 will go higher in terms of bit rates for the codecs, but at 400, we can deliver 10-bit 422 60p. We can deliver an awful lot with that power, still on relatively inexpensive SD cards. So we sort of one of SD card pioneers, and that's really stuck, and it's been the one steady media in the marketplace, and the one affordable piece of media. We can't move away from the P2 cards for the VariCams and the high end until an SD card hits that bit rate. One day in the future it might, but right now the V90 cards, 400, we can deliver that.
Sure. Now the other thing that people really want in these cameras at the moment is high frame rate. So we know from the releases that come out at Cinegear that they've been talking about high frame rates. So what have we got?
Well, in 4K we've got 60p. In HD we've got 240. So they're two confirmed specs. In terms of the exact details around that, we'll be announcing those very, very, very shortly.
Well, we look forward to it, and certainly looking at this camera here, this is a pretty small piece of kit, and that's really attractive. I can see here that we can take the handle off.
Yep.
We can take the side grip off here.
Yep.
And dressing it down, if you like, for drones and other special applications. This is a really compact piece of kit, and we can see from what you're promising here with the specifications, this is quite an amazing little package. So we certainly very much look forward to seeing the thing very soon.
In our range, size-wise and price-wise, everything, it fits between the GH5 and the LT. The LT, smaller than the VariCam 35, so you can use it on a Movi, on a gimbal, but it's still quite a few kilos, where the EVA-1 comes out around 1.2 kilograms. So it's a well-built, robust camera that is exceptionally light. To strip it down, it gives you a nice little box for a frame, a Movi, a rig. Very, very portable, very, very compact.
Now, just touching on something here quickly, we have an SDI output of the camera?
Yes, yep. So like the LT, we'll have a 6G output. So not 6G output, we can do an uncompressed RAW up to 5.7. When the camera starts to ship later on in the year, we won't have the 5.7K RAW out enabled. That'll come in a firmware revision hopefully fairly soon in the new year. 6G, we can do an uncompressed RAW out, and we're already talking to the likes of Convergent and Atomos and those guys in terms of, we need you guys to be able to record that 5.7K RAW, and that'll do that via a single 6G SDI cable. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, we really look forward to it. I think that this, this camera is looking like shaping up to be a real killer camera, if you like, in the place.
We haven't. I mean, look, the LTs gave us something to really be excited about at the high end, and that was great. But the buzz certainly comes from a real groundswell, and we're getting that. We haven't had a camera for a long time that we've had such high level of pre-orders and just such high level of interest. So yeah, sort of lifting the veil at Cinegear a few weeks ago. I was there in LA when that happened. There was a real buzz around that. We had probably 400 to 500 people in that Paramount Cinema Theatre, and it was a real buzz, and we just haven't had that feeling for a long time at this sort of level. So it's been fantastic journey so far, and it's only just started.
That's great. It's really exciting to have this camera come on board, and I think over the next few months we really look forward to hearing all of the other new features and things that it will have as it comes out. So,
and thank you for your pre-order so far.
Not a problem. And certainly for coming on today, Rob.
Right.
Thanks so much for coming
thanks
on
for
and
having
being
us.
another one of our broadcast brains today.
Yep.
And for everyone out there, certainly stay tuned. We've got more to come. And we'll thank you, Rob. And,
Pleasure, James. Thank you.
Good
work.
Thank you.